Hi, it's Calder here from Singing Matters. Once again, it's been a long time, but a video today for you. Just going to have a little go through a song that we're doing with my band tomorrow as a first dance at a wedding. And I know a few years ago I wouldn't have been able to sing this. I just simply wouldn't have been able to sing it. Not in a way that would have suited it, especially. I may have been able to belt through it and sort of, absolutely destroy the sensitivity of the song because I could only sing hard and I can only sing shouty. But thankfully nowadays I've learned what I've learned and I'm able to control that a lot better than I ever could. And really it's so light, even when it's got a connected mixy sound, it's so close to falsetto, there's not that much difference between the two. Certainly in terms of volume and intensity, in terms of what the body's doing. I just wanted to have a quick run through this on video because it's been a long time since I put anything out. Tell me that you want me. I'll be yours completely, for better or for worse. And I know we'll have our disagreements, be fighting for no reason. I wouldn't change it for the world. I was working with a couple of students this week and there was one guy who was amazed at the idea of underpronouncing your consonants and really managing how you pronounce certain things in terms of how that affects breath control and just consistency of tone, you can easily go tell. You can push air against that T before you sing it. And before you know it, you're losing all your breath straight away on the first syllable. Tell me that you want me. You want to get it as close to just doing an open vowel like that, even when there are consonants getting in the way. You want to downplay the consonants so much that it feels as consistent almost as it does when you just sing the notes on a vowel like that. For better or for worse, for better or it's easy to push air against those consonants, lose the breath control and the breath support by just pushing it out or letting it suddenly flip like that. That's not flip. Well, you know what that means. Letting it release in that way, letting that pressure release. So we've got to try not to push pressure up against a consonant. We've got to try not to release air through that consonant either. And that's part of what's allowing me to sing that nicely, something I wouldn't have necessarily had great control of back in the day either. But when we get to the chorus, it goes up nice and high. You make my heart feel like it's summer when the rain is pouring down. You make my whole world feel so right when it's wrong. That's why I know you are the one. That's why I know you are the one. So, that chorus. You make my heart. So we're going up to an F sharp and an E there already, right through the bridge, right in the passaggio, in that awkward spot. It's so hard to get singers to understand how differently placed those few notes are compared to others. You make my whole, make, two different vowels there, diphthong, you make my heart, you make, sounds a bit jarring, you make my heart feel like it's summer. Notice the little let go there, the little sort of light backing off that just gives it that dynamic. It doesn't sound so rigid. You make my heart feel like it's summer. I'm going into a falsetto for a split second. You make my heart, you make my heart, you make my heart. Start overdoing it. Doesn't really suit the song necessarily. You make my heart feel like it's summer. I'm almost going at that a little bit strong there. When the rain is pouring down, you make my whole world. So I'm letting that go falsetto there. You make my whole world. If I do it a little bit stronger, just a little bit more connected, not give in to the falsetto too much. You make my whole world, 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 world feel so right when it's wrong. That's why I know you are the one. Singing on the end there a little bit, actually. That's why I know you are the one. And it's helping people understand how different those notes are, like I was saying a minute ago. Those notes in the bridge there, they really sit differently to anything else. And often we're not really aware of how to achieve that or what's going on. You know, they are different. They're not living in the mouth. They don't resonate down here. Tell me that you want me. It's down, it's at the front there. When you get up to, you make my heart, you make my heart, you make, if I was to sing it down here, there'd be this sense of it being in the mouth at the front and living in here. But when you get up to that top note, it's in this strip of your face, and it's really hard to make people understand that because they're always applying too much of this mouthy resonance, chest, really, resonance. You know, you're kind of shouting at it and delivering it all from down here. How light I can let that go. You make my heart. If I let it really flip into falsetto. You make my heart. You make my heart. There's not a lot of difference, volume-wise, intensity-wise, really. It's very similar. That when I apply back, you know, a bit more connection, a bit more chord closure, and a bit more mixier sound. You make my heart feel like it's summer. When the rain is pouring down, you make my whole world feel so right when it's wrong. That's why I know you are the one. So, what am I trying to help you with here? I want you to notice when you're going into that part of your range, we really have to get good at understanding where we are in the range, where you are in comparison to your bridge, where you are in comparison to your head voice, and that awkward in-between stage where anything here for guys starts to go towards the bridge. As soon as we hit that E, it feels like I'm pronouncing the vowel up here. It feels like I'm creating the vowel, like the roof of the mouth. There's a little nook that goes up. The passaggio itself, that E is at the bottom of it. If you go to an F, it's going into the passaggio a little bit more. F sharp's really starting to shift up into here. By the time you get to that G, you feel more like you're actually into the head voice, and it's gone right into those nasal cavities up there. So you've got to know where you are in your range so that you can start to place it right. But you should feel a big difference. E, where there's this sense of the sound is allowed to shift up to there, and you're not trying to power through it with your mouth and chestiness. There's a nasality to it, and you're allowing it to go where it wants to go. If I try and push through that and the resonance stays in the same place, you get this shouty, awkward, tense sort of thing. There's a place for it up there. Not a massive fan of how I'm doing that necessarily, but I'm just thinking about placing it into a different spot. We've got to try and follow where the voice is going. Follow where it's trying to lead you. How do you do that? Semi-occluded vocal exercises, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises can be really useful, such as the straw. Have you come across the straw before? Have you ever seen people talk about the straw? If you have and you've not looked at it, you might want to look at it. It really helps you get control of these muscles that try and influence things when they shouldn't. It really helps you just keep everything balanced and allows you to maybe have the time to sort of feel what's going on. You can do an sound, and you really will feel on the roof of your mouth where that resonance is starting to shift. Lip trills. I can't push that note out the same on the bottom as I am at the top, on the top note. You end up fighting it and pushing it too hard. You've got to try and follow where it's trying to let you go and make those adjustments that it's telling you to make. That feels completely different there. Put it into the nose a little bit, not into the nose, but into the nasal cavity in terms of how high it's allowed to resonate in the face. But just try not to shout. It's massive as well. I mean, I used to just overdo it. That's why I damaged my voice. And it always sounds a bit ropey when I talk now. Like the more I teach for an hour or two, and my voice feels a bit worn out. I teach in front of classes, it wears it out. I'm all right with a mic on stage. It's almost like if I talked a little bit more how I sing, which I often demonstrate, my voice is okay. But when I just relax and use it how I normally do, it struggles. And I lack a bit of volume and power like I'd like to have. But that's the damage I've done, and that's the thing I have to deal with. Those notes are so much more effortless. Like, it's just inconceivable how different that is compared to what it used to feel for me when I used to sing those kinds of notes. They just weren't available to me. They were only available in a shouty, horrible way, and I would dread having to sing a song like this if it came up. And that's the truth. I have to admit it. I have to look back and realise how bad it was in those early years in particular. Took a long time to fix it. And if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't, right? It should feel so easy, but it takes a lot of playing around and experimentation for it to get easy. And just try and trust that process and believe that there's another way of doing it. There's another way of getting a voice to sound how you want it to sound. There's another way of singing that might, start to feel a little bit easier. And it's a whole lot less than you could probably ever imagine. So that's all I want to do today. But I want you to think about feeling for the placement, feeling for where the resonance starts to go up into there and where it's not so much in the mouth, but it starts to it almost feels like you're making the sound up here. So that's an F sharp. Try and sing. Try and shape all your vowels and play around with vowels on different notes. And just try and feel out it literally feels like the voice lives up here and you're creating the sound from up here. Hey! It feels like it's up there. It's not here. It's not in the front. Hey! That is. Hey! You're creating the sound as if your voice is up here. Just picture it like that. It's a bit of a weird visualization. Hey! Hey! Roof of the mouth up into there. And see if you can get better at feeling these things and noticing these things. And just back off a little bit. Back off with breath pressure. You always need less force up there. See if you can back off and back off and back off. And if it breaks, fine. Let it break, because at least you've found the weak point. At least you've backed off with all the pressure and intensity to the point where you can let it break and you're not gripping and holding onto it so much. That's a good thing, because you've probably let go of some of the muscles that you need to let go of, and you've probably relaxed things to a point where you can actually start to sort of find an easier, more effortless sound. So just back off, back off, back off as you get higher. So say you're there. Now I've had people comment on my page. I was going to finish a minute ago, but I'll carry on. I've had people comment on my page once, a couple of negative comments that I had, and I had a few, but not that many. Mostly it's been fantastic. But I think some people felt like I was giving the wrong advice because they felt like they had to go louder, go bigger, go stronger to get the sound out and to achieve what they were trying to achieve. And I think it depends what direction you come from. If you are more likely to flip into falsetto the second you feel that resistance in your head voice, when you feel that kind of pressure, or it's too strong, it's going to hurt, or it doesn't feel right, and you just let it just flips into falsetto. If you often have that problem, you probably do need to learn how to put support into it, lean into it a little bit, find the belt, find the chest voice a little bit in that sound, and maybe give it a bit more. And I've had students where I've had to try and make them almost shout like, hey, and really just not use their voice how they normally would and just try and power through. You can bring in problems doing that, of course you can. But on my channel, I try to appeal to people who've got similar problems with me as me, where it's all tense, too much tension, lots of strain, lots of extrinsic muscle involvement. And for those people, stripping things away, letting go, backing off, doing less, giving more, all those things are the right advice. I think for people who come from the opposite end of the spectrum, perhaps that's not always the right advice. But that's just the nature of the beast. There's a balance in between, where you're sounding strong and you're sounding connected, but you're not hurting it, and you're not going too light that it flips into a falsetto and loses its intensity. So there's just that happy medium in between. You've got to work out which one you are and which area you come from. It'll be obvious, it should be obvious, if you come from a place of strain, where as you sing, you feel that tension build up, you feel that pressure build up, it feels really uncomfortable, it's hard to hit those notes, maybe you can't even get a falsetto sound to come out. That's when we need to back off, let go, let go, let go, loosen up. Do any kind of exercises to release this tension. Try lifting your head back and swallowing. It's really uncomfortable. If you swallow with your head back like that, and then you try and sing, and you get a similar feeling that you do when you swallow with your head back, singing with your head back, you know that these swallowing muscles are engaging to try and help you hit the note, and they shouldn't be. So try singing whilst keeping the larynx down, just to teach the voice, teach the muscles what's wrong about their instincts. And if that's happening, it's something you need to get rid of. I'm throwing all sorts of stuff at you. It's been a while since a video. I tend to do things off the cuff. I want you to think about that placement. I want you to try and feel the difference between notes in that mid to high range and notes in the low range, and start to just sense the resonance, perhaps a bit better than you have done up to now. I'm going to try and get the videos going again a little bit. I can't promise. I've got a lot going on, but thank you very much, as always, on the channel, and I'm available for lessons or a free consultation online, or online lessons. And I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.